So, welcome. This is the CyphaDen chat in association with the Denku podcast. I'm merging them together, Pesto. I decided to do this because I don't think I'm going to try to do two podcasts anymore. It's just, it's just too much shit to balance. So, this is CyphaDen chat in association with the Denku podcast. I'm your host, Tayamu Denku. We got my homie Pestilence with me. And tonight, special guest from bare knuckle fighting championship, bare knuckle boxer fighter, Gabri, Gabe, no, fuck, god damn it,
Dude.
Gabrielle Roman. Yes, there, I hit it, man. Don't clown me. I said it. The thing is I thought about it too hard. But how are you doing this evening?
I'm good. How about you? How you guys doing?
I am exhausted. I work 12-hour shifts. I
Oof.
hate it to an extreme amount. But I no longer have raccoon pests fucking with my crib, so I don't have to worry about that shit no more. I don't know what happened, Pester. I think they either they got murdered by some shit out in the yard or something, but they're gone. Like I don't hear them no more.
You're sure they're gone.
They're gone. I don't hear them. I don't see them. I'm pretty sure they're either dead somewhere or they decided to move into somebody else's crib. I don't really know what's going on.
Nah, if it was dead, you'd definitely be able to smell them
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, but
That's dope.
where do things start for you? Can I call you? Do you prefer your full name or can I call you Gabby? Is it
No, Gabby's good. Yeah.
okay?
Thank
So
you.
cool. So, um, Gabby, where do things start for you as far as getting into fighting in general?
Sorry, the cow is distracting. Is it a boy or girl? I'm
That's a
so sorry.
girl.
Oh, what's her name?
Bruiser.
Bruiser. I love her already. Okay. Um, shit. Fighting. I mean, I guess so. This fighting journey started when I always went to the gym, always was weightlifting, doing that type of stuff. The gym that I was working out at started a jujitsu class there,
Mm.
and they wanted more females. So they said that if I joined, I wouldn't have to pay. They were just trying to bring in more women, and I got hooked. And then from there, it just kind of escalated. It snowballed into more things.
That's what's up.
Here we
So
are, 7, 8 years later.
so you have a mixed martial arts background then, not just boxing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So um so why bare knuckle?
Mm. I feel like it's the most. I mean, aside from bare knuckle MMA, I feel like it's the most realist form of fighting.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I've said this many times before, but when you're in the streets and God forbid if something happens, you're not gonna sit there and be like, "Oh wait, we're not the right weight class," or "Let me go get my
Mm.
boxing gloves really quick." Um, it's the truish form that comes closest, so I love it. I've always loved it.
That's what's up.
How
Um
did your family react when you started getting into that? I mean, you said it was kind of a gradual transition, so were they like pretty supportive about it, or were they a little scared?
In the beginning, not so supportive, but once things took off with bare knuckle, family started getting a lot more supportive. Like not all family, my mom was always on board. She witnessed firsthand. I have other family members, like my aunt and my uncle who were always supportive, and they also witnessed firsthand the things that I've been through. So um you know I say this a lot. I feel like I was like made for bare knuckle, just like most fighters say. I was born for this. So
mm. I definitely feel like it's a different beast. Uh Obviously, I mean, I've watched a lot of UFC earlier
mhm.
on. I've watched MMA fighting, and all that. I've watched boxing. I actually got driven away from boxing. I'll tell you why I got driven away from boxing, because I felt like over the years
Mm.
I noticed that professional boxing, like the big, not like what you do. I'm saying like the big promotional events, a lot of them just seem so rigged to me. I don't know. It's just like I just see shit happen and I'm like, you're beating dude's ass that's undefeated. And now all of a sudden you're just chilling. Like what's going on? Like you were beating the fuck out of dude, and now you're just chilling, and now he's coming back, and now he's beating you, and now he's still undefeated. I feel like I've seen that multiple times in professional boxing. I don't know if that's like if that's what it is. I mean, I've never been involved in it, so I don't know if that's what it is, but I'm saying that's what it looked like to me, and that's what drove me away from professional boxing as far as watching it. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Yeah.
Um,
Boxing has definitely become a lot more political and more of a show nowadays, you know?
yeah. My first taste of knowing that bare knuckle even existed is like I said, I used to watch a lot of UFC shit, and I remember I was a pretty big fan of Johnny Hendricks at the time, and like I honestly I still feel like he kind of got robbed in the St. Pierre fight, but
Mm.
he after UFC when he left, he jumped into bare knuckle, and that's the first I ever heard of it. I was like, wait a second, he's doing bare knuckle fighting, like that's a thing now, and that's crazy. And like now it seems like shit's exploding.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Um, shouts to Chris Lytle. I've
Hmm.
had I've had him on the podcast before. We've had a conversation. And that dude's always been super cool, and I think it's cool that he's still involved, right? Like he does like
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. In many ways.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean that dude's super dope. That's dope. We've also had recently we had Houston Alexander on here. Um, I don't know if you're familiar with him that much, but he's actually a hip hop head, and a lot of times we have hip hop people on here because we're both hip hop artists, and but we like to talk to everybody. You know what I'm saying? We like to talk to all different types of people, all different walks of life, and get their stories and talk to them and get their opinions on things that are going on right now, things that are happening. Speaking of things that are happening, did you watch the Tyson Fury Usyk fight?
Yes. I only caught the last couple of rounds. I wasn't aware it started earlier than it usually does, so I missed most of it, but I caught from rounds like 7 or 8 to the ending. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
What did you think of the fight overall? Like what you saw?
I knew. I honestly I knew. I felt like how do you say his name? Usyk? Because I'm bad with names.
Usyk, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Us- I knew he was
Clearly,
I,
I'm also bad with names, but you
yeah,
know,
it's okay. We can be bad with names together. So Usyk, I'm a fan of. He's Lomachenko. He's best friends with Lomachenko, so I'm a huge fan of Lomachenko, and they're like best friends. Their fighting styles are somewhat similar too, even though he's like way bigger in weight classes, but you can definitely tell they train together. So in a way, I felt like because of that, and because I see his work ethic, because again they're best friends and they don't play around when it comes to training. He gets advice and certain tips from Lomachenko's father as well. So I had a feeling like I was definitely going for Usyk to win that fight, and he did great. I felt like, well, from what I saw, he did great. I was hoping he would have finished him in that round. I think when was it 9? He dazed him. A
yeah,
9 or
where the ref jumped in.
yeah, shit was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pesto, did you see that fight or did you watch the highlights?
I watched some of the highlights. I saw like the round where he almost dropped him again, and somehow Fury didn't go down, which was crazy to me. Like the chin and
Well,
the evasiveness and the
yeah, well, but I mean, he was bouncing off the ropes, and then
he
the ref,
was he was absolutely
and
he
then the
got
ref
saved.
jumped in. The ref jumped in, and like it's kind of like, there's the controversy. I'm not even saying Tyson Fury is not a good boxer, but there's always the controversy for things that have happened in fights with him, like the Nagano fight. A lot of people said, man, Tyson lost that. There's a lot of people that said that. There's also a lot of people that said that Deontay Wilder fight where they fought and he got knocked down, that basically the ref counted and he was talking to him and counting at the same time. And he basically, if you would have timed it out as a normal person, it's almost like 16, 17 seconds that he counted him before he actually got up and said he was like, people were like, he was completely out. They tell the story about it. They're like, oh, this is the story. And yeah, he was completely out. Like he shouldn't have, it was crazy how he like came back from the dead and they got up and did that. But they don't tell you that basically that count lasted 16 to 17 seconds. It wasn't a 10-second count. You know what I'm saying? So like, there's things like that. And you do think, I guess that, and that's when I go back to boxing, when I say they do things like that for those undefeated champion boxers. They do little extra special things. You know what I'm saying? So,
Well,
I
because
have
they,
fights, so I only saw highlights as well, so I'm not sure.
Well, I'm
yeah,
actually curious because that was actually something I was going to bring up when she mentioned the work ethic on Usyk's side, because that's commonly something that gets talked about with Tyson Fury. He's considered one of the greats, but at the same time, like with the Ngannou fight, a lot of people said he didn't take the fight seriously. He didn't prepare like he would have for any other fight, so he came in there out of shape, and that's why he kind of got bullied by Ngannou. Is that something that you see ever in bare knuckle boxing? Because I know it's something that there's been fighters throughout the years in professional sports that get that knock of being not, being physically gifted, but not working as hard as they probably could, or as hard as a lot of their competition does. Are
Mm.
there people that you see, and you don't have to name names or anything, but do you see that ever where you see people and you're like surprised that they're not working as hard towards it? Or is it kind of just like a different strokes for different folks situation? Is that something
Yeah,
you think about at all?
definitely. I feel like it's everywhere. That's everywhere. It's not just bare knuckle. It's like he said, boxing, it's MMA. I feel like it depends on the person, what they're going through, how serious it is for them. I've seen actually in fights, people smoking like the day before the fight. And I mean like weed, you know what I mean? And I'm like, what are you doing? You need your lungs. Like, are you crazy? Like that to me is like, at least wait till after the fight to do that, because you're sitting there, and I don't know, I guess it depends on how serious the person is taking it. And then sometimes people just go through, they're we can't prevent some things that happen to us. We can only, like, try to roll with it. So I guess it's like you said, different people, different strokes. So
yeah, that actually made me think of this like you said, it goes through all levels of fighting, but all levels of anything in athletics or probably life in general, like just random things where people don't do enough. Pestilence, it even happens in music shit. We see it all the
It
time.
happens in
You
music
know
a
what I'm saying?
lot.
But it made me think of this exact story when you were talking about how you see people smoking weed like a day before the fight. So I was a track runner in college. I was pretty fucking good, super fast. Um, and I remember this college indoor conference championships. I got lane, I got the outside lane, right?
mm,
So I was like, man, I'm not gonna see anybody. They're probably gonna eat me up after the curve. Like, I hate being on the very outside lane and all this shit. And the dude that was favored to win literally got high right before the race. And he was really the only person I was like, man, he's probably gonna just smoke me in this shit, like whatever. At least I'm in the in the finals of the conference championship at school or whatever, and literally he got last place.
Holy shit.
Like he literally got last place in the race. I ended up getting first place. I didn't see anybody the whole race, and I set the conference record, indoor record at that meet. Like it was crazy actually how it happened. But I remember that specific thing happening, like seeing him do that right before the race. And I was like, man, it's crazy. Like, is he like, does he know something I don't know? Like, what the fuck's going on? Like, and literally last place. So that's definitely a thing. And I know there is, I know weed helps people in pain and medicine. I completely understand that. But in athletics, I don't really know how much it can help you, like right before you're doing something. Like,
I don't know if it's really smart for anybody athletically.
yeah, yeah, I don't know. You watched the recent. I saw you post about it, so I know you watched this. You watched the recent bare knuckle Omaha, right? That was the last one.
Yeah.
Yes. So I didn't even know the girls that were fighting on that card. Like I was not familiar. And when I looked at it, I was like, hold on. This chick's nickname is what? Like that chick's really a doctor outside of fighting?
She's legit a doctor. It's pretty cool that's her nickname too. So yeah.
What?
Name
Yeah,
is the doctor.
yeah, there's a bare knuckle fighter that is a doctor outside of bare knuckle fighting. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I was going for Crystal. That's my girl. She's a freaking warrior. Especially taking like, all 5 rounds to her and not stopping and going forward and again it's bare knuckle. So I'm very proud of her.
Yeah. How does recovery work after bare knuckle? How long does it usually take for like recovery? Because I mean, you're getting hit by just no protection, no gloves. You know what I'm saying? Like how long does that usually take, and what's the steps and methods
Mm.
behind that?
I guess it depends on the person and the injury. Like it took me a while after my crow fight to heal from my hands, but it was also because I'm a single mom, so I do a lot of cooking. I do a
Mm.
lot of cleaning, I do a lot of driving, I do a lot of things that require my hands. So, and a lot of the times, honestly, I just forgot. So I'll fuck around and use my other hand. I'm like, oh, that shit hurt. And so recovery time definitely took a little bit longer than usual. I went back to training 2 weeks after that fight, like a dumbass. And that's what stunted a little bit. So again, it depends on the person. It depends on what you're doing for the healing process, and it depends on the injury itself too, because if you could have a broken hand, that's going to take you longer. You could have anything, a simple injury, it'll be shorter. But again, it depends on what you're doing to heal it and to get it back to what it should be.
Yeah. How is it balancing having kids with being a professional fighter?
um it's a little bit more difficult than having a normal job, because not only is it requiring hours, but it's requiring physical shit that you're using, like you're exerting yourself. The whole point of you training is to exert your body, push yourself past limits so you can get used to it, so you can maintain your cardio, so you can build conditioning, whether it's bone conditioning or muscle, whatever it is. It's fucking tiring. And um that on and you still got other shit that you need to do. So I don't know, it's like I saw this post the other, it wasn't the other day, my time is off, but it was like maybe like 2-3 months ago that I saw that don't date an athlete thinking they're don't date a fighter thinking they're like other athletes. And that shit made so much sense. If you're a fighter, you understand what it is, like you're constantly needing to sleep, needing to eat, like just it's different because you're pushing yourself, you're putting your body through different things that most really aren't. And like, you know, even with sports, you know, they have off seasons. I guess fighters have off seasons like after your fight, you know, that's your healing time. But then once your healing time is up, like you're right back to training. So there really is like no off season. If you're taking an off season, then you're not doing this shit right. Like your
Yeah.
only off season should be healing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pesto, what you thinking, man? You got
I'm
some?
I'm just fucking listening. I
He's
think
just vibing.
that's crazy
He's
interesting.
just
I'm like
vibing.
it's because it's a lot of stuff that I mean I guess I've always kind of been curious about the lifestyle of it. What do your kids think about you
Hmm.
fighting and doing bare knuckle? Are they supportive of it or do they not like when you have fights?
Bro, they if it wasn't for my kids, I wouldn't still be in this, honestly. And I love it. Like I love fighting, but there was a point of time in my life where I'm like, fuck, this is not paying off. Like this is like we're struggling. Like I need to get a fucking job that's gonna like really pay me because everything is a sacrifice. And it's not only time consuming, but a lot of the time you're doing this shit for like the long-term goal. And that's even if it happens. So there was a point in my life where I'm like, fuck, I don't know how much longer I need to make money. And I'm like, all these years that I've been doing this, I'm stunned. I'm making an income off of it. So I honestly was at that point where I was like, I don't know if this is worth it anymore. And my kids were the ones that pushed me to continue going. And um, my kids are very supportive of it. They're very supportive, thank God. They're proud of me. And now they both want to become cops. So but they're also saying like, you know, they want to be fighters and they want to do these things. So we'll see what they want. Whatever the hell they want to do, I'm gonna support the hell out of it. But they're you know they're able to see because this bare knuckle just happened. Like it was just last year. And before that, we were struggling. Like even during all of this, we've been struggling, but they've been able to see what the work and the consistency and and just the pushing has brought us. Well, first and foremost, God, but the consistency. We can't ask and pray for things and expect things without actually working hard for it and actually being consistent with it. You know what I mean? So they're able to see what the hard work actually has paid off and where it takes you. So they understand and they're learning like, oh shit, if I want this, I need to work for it and I need to really work for it. Because they see how tired I am. They see how, like, again, I told you I was at that point where I just wanted to be like, dude, I don't think this is worth it anymore. And they pushed me and now they see. And thank God. But now they see where we are and where it's going, and they see the progress. They see how much I've grown skill wise and as a person, and they're like, holy shit, this is cool, you know. And it's a blessing to be able to sit here and give that to them, you know, that that they can do it as long as they want first.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, it's
Amboy's known for that.
okay.
Yeah, you're gonna hear that a lot. I'm surprised honestly that you haven't heard more of that yet. Yeah, that's Amboy. I don't know if you guys saw that video. Oh no, you haven't. They did like there was we have a victory bridge. It's called Suicide Bridge, but it's called Victory Bridge, and they were doing donuts in the middle of the street, stopping all traffic and shit. Yo, that's just crazy over here with cars. Um, but
Wow.
anyways, so yeah, no, they don't fuck around with cars over here. It's really bad. It's really fucking bad.
Yeah, I've literally only drove through Jersey. I've never actually because I've toured a whole bunch for music. I've played a lot of New York shows, but I've literally only drove through Jersey. We were supposed to get this show um in Clifton
Mm.
for this upcoming tour, but I think I don't know. I found out a lot of venues out that way do the like they charge for
Mm.
people to play them, and it's kind of like I've been touring since 2015, give or take, and I've never done a single tour where I had to pay out of pocket to book a show for a tour. Like it's supposed to be the opposite. It's supposed to
Mm,
be you're paying me because I'm touring your city and I've been doing music for this long. Like, why would I pay a venue to book my own tour date? Like, this doesn't make any
yeah, that's
sense.
Jersey. That sounds like Jersey. That sounds like Jersey.
Yeah. So I've
Yeah,
literally
they've
only
got
drove
their
through.
cut.
I've never. I stopped at a gas station. That's the only time I've been there. And
My s-
I flew into Newark multiple times to get to uh Staten Island because I would always stay in Staten Island because I was on a label out in Staten Island for probably like I don't know 5 or 6 years or something. So I would always travel out there to do this yearly festival we do every year. I would go out there and do it, and I would always fly in there because it was always cheaper and easier than flying into like JFK or LaGuardia or whatever. It was always cheaper and easier to do that. But yeah. Um. So What's your workout music playlist like?
Hold on, I'm gonna close my window so we don't hear that beeping. Give me a
All right.
second. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So what would you say are some songs that are on your workout routine mixtape? I'm curious
Okay.
to that.
It's you ever heard of a rapper named KB?
Hmm.
He's a Christian rapper.
I've not. The only Christian rapper I'm familiar with is a rapper named Mars Ill.
Mars Ill. I'm not gonna search that up.
And I
Is it
don't I'm not sure if they make shit anymore, but Mars Ill is a Christian rapper and super cold. Like I actually did a show with him one time because he
nice?
was on a festival that I played in Cincinnati. Um, but I knew of him before that, so I knew who he was. And yeah, he's cold. He's really.
Nice. I'm
But
gonna search
I
him.
yeah, but KB, no, I'm not familiar. I'm not familiar. So that is one. So what? Okay,
So KB, I like Bishop Briggs.
Bishop Bridge. Why does that sound familiar?
She's dope as shit, bro. There's a bunch of songs I love her about her, from her. Bishop Briggs, The Score, I love. Um, Nathan Warlick. No, excuse me, Lathan Warlick. He's another
Hmm.
Christian rapper. It jumps back and forth. I like to listen to things that helps me zone out so I can do what I need to do. Because most of the time I'm in a gym, and when like thank God not a lot of people are usually there, but when there's a lot of people, I'm like fuck, it kind of messes with me. So I'm like, all right, let me focus. And then when I get into my groove, I'm like, yeah, this is motivating. Yeah, this is good. Like anything that pushes me to help me keep focused, to help me remember the goals, to help me just get there mentally and music. So it's usually God music, um, just inspirational shit, anything that's on that route, like I'll mess with it.
That's what's up. That's
how
what's
did
up.
how did getting into fighting originally, how did that change your like your life? I'm sure like because going from somebody that's not doing the combat sport to getting to especially the level that you're at now, I'm sure that's got to affect your confidence in like a pretty big way. Um, as far as like because you're overcoming
Oh, he's breaking up a little bit.
obstacles constantly while you're moving up that ladder and you're progressing and you're seeing a progression within yourself.
You can you
So how does that
You were Pesto. You were kind of like glitching out for a second. I don't know what was
Mhm.
going on with that. You
oh
might have
my
to
bad.
repeat. You might have to
Can you hear me now?
repeat that joint. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
good now. You're good now.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
yeah.
Okay.
You
But I was gonna
get them.
say, how did getting into fighting originally affect your confidence? Because like you're in a sport that you're constantly able to see your progress by like your capabilities rising and you're naturally seeing your results. probably more than a lot of different occupations might be able to see that stuff. Everything that you're doing is very tangible. So did that have like a pretty big impact on your life in any other ways?
It impacted my faith with God. And as weird as that sounds, because I I didn't get this opportunity. I said this before because I've been doing this shit for years. It's like I told you, I wasn't like on the brink of just giving this shit up. And my kids told me what they told me. Literally their exact words. And I don't remember shit for shit. Like I was punch drunk before I got punch drunk. You know what I mean? So I remember them saying they started crying first when I told them that mommy thinks that I'm just gonna stop fighting so I can start working, because I told them that I wanted to be more home and I wanted to be able to afford more things. Now this is what I told them. And then they're like they started crying and I'm like, why are you guys super confused? Because I thought they would be happy. And they started crying. And my youngest says, he's like, Mom, that's the devil. That's the devil trying to make you quit. And I was like, what the fuck? And my oldest is like, yeah, Mom, like you can't quit. You work too hard. Like you got to keep going. And I'm like, what? Like, this is not what I thought they were. I thought they were going to be happy because I was going to be home more. I was going to get a job to have like a consistent income. Like, it didn't make any fucking sense. Like, it just didn't. And I remember 2 weeks, more or less, before Jules, which is the matchmaker for BKFC for the women's side. 2 weeks before Jules gave me a call for that short notice fight, I gave my life to Jesus. And then I asked him, I said, Lord Jesus, please guide me. If this is in your will, then so be it. But if you want me to do something else, or if there's somewhere else that I need to be or do, then point me in that direction. And then 2 weeks later, I get a call from Jules offering me that short notice fight. Now, it was 8 days away. The fight was at 140, which is like fucking 3 weight classes above my weight class. And I had to gain like 10 pounds in those 8 days. My team at that time honestly wasn't really for it. And like one of the coaches weren't even around to be able to like give an answer, you know? So there was like so much going, like, no, like, you know what I mean? But I prayed and I asked, and then the opportunity landed. So I knew I had to do it. I just knew I had to do it. And I just knew that I wasn't going to fail. And I knew that was God giving me my opportunity. So it was a bunch of mixed emotions. Like, it was crazy. Yeah. So it was faith, like I said, and then just through this time, and as more time, even after this last fight, me getting my ass knocked out with under a minute, I like, you have no idea how much of a blessing that the way that fight happened, because the amount, man, like, it's like when you truly just like, all right, cool. If I was supposed to win, I would have won, you know? And I lost and I knew I was supposed to lose. And then so much great and positive things have happened after that fight where I'm like, oh shit, this is why. Oh shit, this is why. You know what I mean? So it's just faith. Just having my faith has grown so much more, even with bad things, because it's not like bad things haven't happened. Certain things have broken my heart. Things didn't go the way that I wanted it planned, but because I continue to have faith, God is like, I got you. Just chill the fuck out. Like, like you over here planning when I'm the one that makes the plans, you know. And once I remember that, I'm like, oh, okay. And then everything becomes clear. Like, oh, this is why didn't happen. Oh, this is why this happened. Oh shit, I didn't realize that this was actually this way. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just faith. My faith has grown so much more.
That's what's up. That's what's up. How do so you had mentioned Jules does the booking on the women's side. How I've never been familiar with how booking fights actually happens. Like, do you have to, is it like a waiting game, or do you like get to call somebody out, or do people get to call you out, or do they just put it all together? Like, how does all that work?
So it varies. The only reason why I was even able to get that opportunity, is that a different cat? Because that's not the same color as Bruiser.
This is a different cat. This is Chester.
I'm like, yeah, I know I'm not bugging.
No, this is a different cat.
What's her name?
His name's Chester.
Chester. Oh my god, it's perfect.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yo, I'm gonna be honest with you, before my kids, yo, it's the weirdest freaking I'm gonna get back to that question. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I was out working in Delaware one day and my coworkers found a fucking cat. And I already knew something in me was like, no, I don't I don't like cats. When I was younger, a cat scratched me across my face, like completely. I had fucking lines. So ever since then, I'm like, no cats. And then I get this fucking cat. And I was going through shit at that time where I'm sitting in my car crying. And then my coworkers pass me the cat, and this motherfucker comes and starts licking my tears. Okay. And I'm
Oh,
fuck. Like, you know what I mean? And then I'm like, shit, I gotta keep this fucking cat.
Yeah,
After that,
cats know emotion. They definitely know emotion.
bro, I fell in love, yo. My son named him Ramen. So
oh, that's awesome.
yeah, he's the cutest little fucker, yo.
Yeah, my coworkers also made me get him originally. One of them, their grandma worked at a humane society, and she's like, "You got to get a cat. I'll pay for the adoption fee." And I said, "I'll look." And I looked, and my grandpa had just passed away. His name was Chester, and
Oh my
his
god.
name was already Chester. So I was like, "All right, I'll just go get Chester."
Oh my god, that's perfect. Oh, that's so
Yeah, it was
cute.
great, and
Oh,
he's been
how
with me ever since. He's gonna be 6 in June.
oh, okay. He's
Yeah,
so cute. God bless him. And
yeah,
Bruiser.
yeah. They're both great.
Yeah, I'm a cat person now. I don't know what the fuck
Yeah.
happened.
That's what happened to me too. I was not a cat person, and then I got one, and I was like, "All right, I'm a cat guy now."
Yo,
Things are
dude,
pretty
my
great.
kids found this fucking song. Talking about songs, my kids found this song by MJ Hanks, and it's "I Got Cats." If you haven't heard that song, you have to listen to it. I think you're gonna like it. I fucking love it. It's funny. He is
All right,
so. It's so smart. And, yo, I don't. It's such a good fucking song. I literally put that shit on blast. If people are looking at me like if I'm crazy, it's awesome.
that is great.
Mm, I'm sorry, but so, you can't just like call or ask them for a fight or challenge them. You have to bring some type of resume. You have to have some type of experience. They don't, they give opportunities through tryouts, things like that. So before I had reached out to Jules, I 2 years prior, before that, I had went to their Belfast tryouts, and I was actually the only chick there, and I was offered a contract at that tryout.
Hmm.
Yes. So at that time, I ended up joining. I sparred with someone. She told me I had a lot of heart, that, if I wanted to do real fighting, that I can join up with their team, and they'll teach me the way, so I don't have to sit there and go right into bare knuckle. So I was like, all right, sure. And it was MMA, and she's a fucking pro, she's a legend. So I was like, fuck yeah, and then I was around legends. I was around Corey Anderson, Sajara Eubanks, fucking Frankie Edgar, Nick Catone. Like, I'm watching all of these
Hmm.
freaking legends next to, like, all the time. I'm like, fuck yeah, this is an honor. Like, I'm definitely gonna take this opportunity. But even though that was an opportunity and I'm grateful and I don't regret it, I messed up my opportunity with bare knuckle at that time. You know what I mean? I backed out of the fight and I fucked up my chances. But here we are, last year, which was 2 years later. I called her out. I didn't call her out. I called her up and asked her. I hit her up through Facebook and I asked her for an opportunity. And she was like, listen, if I have one, I got you. So she had one. And again, she calls me. She was like, I know it's short notice. It's 8 days. It's not your weight class, but you asked me for a shot and this is what I got right now. And if you want it, it's yours. And I'm like, fuck yes, I want it. So, and here we are a year later. So, yeah.
That's what's
So
up.
obviously, going into that fight, it's short notice. You said it's going up a weight class. Were there
Mm.
any advantages that you felt like going into that fight? Because I feel like short notice, it's short notice for your opponent too. It's not like they have been training for you for an entire camp or a
True.
regular, length of time either. So did you feel any advantages that you had going into that fight?
I remember. So she's cool. Her name is Courtney Cameron. She wasn't aware that I was a southpaw. You know what I mean? And that alone is like a real big difference. You have to prepare for southpaws. And if you haven't trained or prepared for that, it's hard for anybody. So and then I was smaller. So I don't know who was her opponent. I'm pretty sure I'm 5'4", so I'm not sure if her opponent was that small. But I know, oh yeah, I remember her mentioning that I was a smaller opponent, and I had lost all of that extra weight because it was water weight, obviously. Um, I had lost all that extra weight the night before before like the actual fight. So I did weigh-ins. I weighed in at fuck, I don't remember. 139. And then the day of the fight, I walked into that fight at 128 pounds.
Oh
So
wow.
Oh,
yeah,
damn.
yeah. So I sweat when I tell you we were in Denver. I put the heat all the way up, and I put all the blankets, the bed next to me, I put the blankets, and I just slept like that. Like I fucking slept and sweated everything. I woke up and fucking drenched, and it was disgusting. But I didn't want to be slow. I didn't want to I didn't want to be slow. I didn't want her to hit me and me fucking throw up or do some like embarrassing shit like that. You know what I mean? So I was trying to think about the smartest way to gain this weight, but also the easiest way I can lose it. And I felt like that was the best tactic I had. So I did that when I woke up the next morning. I woke up, I showered, then I went to the gym at like 6 in the fucking morning, and then I hopped right on the treadmill. um again, still trying to lose all of that stuff, trying to get my speed. Like that's all I had going for me, so I had to like pick one. And I picked the speed. That was it. So um yeah, that was it.
Damn.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've been around a lot of wrestlers, like when I was in high school and stuff like that. So I've seen a lot of the methods and stuff people have used
Mhm.
to cut weight and usually because usually it's in the other direction. Usually somebody's heavier and they're trying to cut down to a weight, a lot of the time. So it's interesting to hear the opposite direction, but it's also cool to hear that despite you putting the weight on, you didn't try to keep it on, that you intentionally cut it all back off so that you could be how you were comfortable, which I think is, that's smart. You know your body, and you knew your body at that weight a lot better than you would, a weight that you only were for a couple days probably.
Yeah, man, it sucked. It fucking sucked. Honestly, right after weigh-ins, I fucking went straight to the bathroom. I almost pissed myself and I threw up right away. I didn't even like it was horrible. But I mean, like I knew I had to like like you said, I had to be as smart as possible. I had to figure like, I didn't want to go in there and get my ass whooped. I was like, yo, I
Yeah.
gotta some type of fight. So I was like, all right, what do I got going for me? I'm small and I'm fast. Let's work with that.
That's what's up. Do you have so in total, how many years do you think you've been a fighter?
Mm. I'm gonna say, I don't know, man. Since I was like 4. I'm gonna say since I was 4. Yeah.
Bird, that's what's up. Can you think of so I mean, that's super obviously you grew up in it. Um, do you think you have I always ask musicians this when they come on if they have crazy tour stories. Do you have a crazy standout tour fighter story, like where you've been in a location and something stands out to you that happened?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like those fights, all my fights have been crazy for me, but like in a good, crazy blessing way. Like that's the first fight alone. Like that's never like that shit is I think that's my crazy story. Like that that would be my
Well,
crazy
yeah,
story.
well, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean the weight
Well,
gain
well,
and then
how is
cutting
it?
weight is
How has it
crazy.
been from, obviously not being a fighter beforehand and then getting into something like bare knuckle fighting championship and into that camp that you were in, you're discussing all these big names to where now you're probably at a point when you go to these fights that, people recognize you, you have fans, you have people that cheer for you that you've probably never met before. What was that like to step from a life where you didn't have that to a life now where you have people rooting for you that you didn't even know and you haven't met personally? What's that change been like?
I like to be grateful for the support that I get, because like aside from like the we decided before, the few family members that I've had supporting me, the support wasn't really ever there. So I'm just genuinely grateful for like the fucking strangers that are don't even know me, and they're like, good job, like, you know, you got this. Or like, even after I lost, I remember I remember after I was trying to get out of the stage, from when Job knocked me out, there was this guy who shook my hand before I went into the stage. And then he gave me the biggest handshake. And I think that was like his wife behind me. And he still shook my hand. He was like, you did great, like, great job. And I'm like, yo, and I won't ever forget that. Like, it's just those people, like, damn, like, you don't even know me. And you're sitting here like, you know, like you're just, you know, you're making me feel special, like, you know, like, and I appreciate that. Like, I really do appreciate that. So I don't even like to like hear them as fans. Like, that shit sounds ugly. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Supporters sounds better. Like, yeah.
Um, you have kids. You've been fighting since you were 4. If
Mm.
somebody would come up to you that you've inspired to be a fighter, what's something that you would tell them to do to go in the right direction to be a fighter?
To be a fighter. Ooh, tell them to seek Jesus. I didn't mean to say it so cheesy, but I mean that shit with everything in me. Because at the end of the day, if this isn't God will, I don't want it. Um, and I don't mean to sound ungrateful, but it's truly like, I mean that shit with everything in me. I still pray that every single day if it's not in your will. And I work my ass off. Like, I work my ass off for this, you know? But if he was to say, you know what, you're done, then it is what the fuck it is. And then I'm just gonna go work my ass off in anything else that he puts me in. But and it doesn't mean that I won't like miss it, or like I'm used to this. I've been fighting my whole fucking life in so many different ways. And fighting is the one thing that has been one of the very few things that has been consistent in my life, you know?
Mm.
And but at the end of the day, I would tell them to see God, because he's the one who takes care of us. He's been there my whole life. He's I say this all the time. Romans 8:28, which is for those who love God, he turns everything out for good for those who love God. So like everything that I've been through in my whole life, even before I knew him, before I loved him, I I didn't like him at certain points. I blamed him for so many fucking things in my life, but he always was there, you know, and he was always there protecting me. There were so many times where I literally, like, not saying that, but I literally could have fucking died, bro. And like he just didn't let it happen. And I'm like, sit back in these, like, I used to think like, what the fuck, like, how didn't I die? Like, I was looking for ways, being a grown-ass woman now and a mother, I know now, like, I was looking for ways for me to just go out. Like, the shit that I put myself in, I was looking for that, like, just switch, yo, like. And but now I know, you know. So see God, he won't
Mm.
fail you. He'll lead you in the right direction. He'll fill that hole, or those holes that no one else is supposed to be feeling, because it belongs to him. So that would definitely be what I say.
So you've been fighting your whole life. Is there another, like, after, obviously fighting is one of those careers that's like it's not something that people are doing and deep into their life. You're gonna have a long life after fighting,
Mm,
you know,
yeah,
God willing, you'll have a
yeah.
long life after. Is there something that you um do you anticipate yourself continuing to stay with fighting in some regard, either coaching or being involved with these promotions in other ways, or do you see something else in your path that you're also interested in possibly pursuing once fighting isn't in the cards for you anymore?
Yes, absolutely. So I definitely, um I want to do God's will, but I feel like God is allowing me in this so I can help the women and children, and then just the individuals and people. There's a, like how you said before, there's a lot of bullshit everywhere in this world, not just fighting. Everywhere there's fucking bullshit. And I feel like there's not enough genuine people out there to take care of people who are really just fucking killing themselves. You know what I mean? There's more of people who are just trying to make money off of you, and they don't give a fuck about your health. They don't give a fuck about your mental or anything. I want to open up a gym that specializes in specifically just women and women's bodies, because one of if anybody cares enough to go and look at statistics, and you look at how much injuries women have versus men, we're not men, bro. We're built different. We're built for different things, you know? We're not supposed to be training and exercising and doing the same methods that men do. We need a little bit more love and tender care when it comes to those things. So I definitely want to help women in that aspect. I want to help these little girls who are growing up and wanting to be fighters. I don't want them thinking that they're out here and they're equal to men and they can beat any man's ass, because that's bullshit. I don't want them thinking that they don't need men, because that's bullshit. Like, and I want to help young men too, you know? Like, I feel like that won't be my place so much, because at the end of the day I'm a woman, but I'm by God's grace, I'm raising two men, you know? And God willing, if I do my job right, they'll be able to help me help those young men, you know? And so this is again until it happens, until it, you know, it's all talk, but God willing, those are my goals. You know, I just want to genuinely fucking help people. Eventually, if I, you know, I gain the experience and the knowledge, which is happening so much. It's only been, how has it been, from the bare fast tryouts to now, which is, so it's been like 3 years, right? More or less. Contracts, management, terms and conditions, like those little freaking like just all that bullshit. Like, so I might eventually fuck around and manage fighters just to make sure that they're not getting ripped and they don't agree to shit that they're not supposed to. And like, I just want to help, bro. I just want to really help, like, because it's definitely a learning experience, and to be going through it and to be put through it and to like be able to be like, yo, I know what you're going through, or I know what you're about to go through, or I see it's different from just trying to talk to somebody or tell them like I can help you, but I've never been through what you've been through. You know, there's a difference. People are able to like be like, oh, you know what it is. You know, you've been there. Like you're at where I want to be, so I know you've been there. You know, but let's see if God wants me to get there. But hell yeah, I want to help a lot of fucking people.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we were actually just talking about that in the music side of things before the podcast, about like you know how there are a lot of people out there. The industries now, especially with technology, has been great for in a lot of ways, but it's also opened up the gateways to exploitation on a level beyond where it was before in a lot of different elements. And music is and art in general is one of the crafts that's been heavily hit monetarily. I know like between that and the pandemic, music has gotten hit pretty hard, and artists have had to become very creative with how they try to earn money, because there's not really a huge call for, you know, people paying individually for songs anymore. You know, people are
Mm,
buying subscription services. They're not buying your whole album online anymore. You know, people are
mm,
coming to not as many shows as they used to because a lot of venues shut down. You know, there's a lot of stuff like that that has changed. And now AI has changed, you know, stuff for graphic designers. So there's people that are able to, you know, just take AI art instead. And it is something that it's kind of cool to hear somebody, regardless of the field, like, you know, fighting is obviously a different field, but it's cool to hear people that see that going on, because like you said, it's everywhere.
mhm,
And want to do something about changing it. And I agree. I think it starts with influencing the people that are younger than you. It's
mhm,
influencing that next generation. It's something that I've been blessed with, you know, musically, with between Denku, my Two Face Media family. Space Case is the first person that got me into hip hop music. Those two guys really kind of took me under their wings. And there's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of traps that, you know, newer artists I could see would fall into. And these guys kind of showed me like, hey, here's some holes in the road here that you can avoid. This is going to save you a lot of pain and heartache and time. And it's you know, ultimately in the hopes of inspiring somebody to be able to reach their true potential. I think it's awesome when there's more people like that. I wish that was a more common mentality, but I think that's where it gets bred though, is people doing that and continuing to perpetuate that to the youth, so that the next generation, maybe avoid some of those things that we weren't able to.
Yep, you're absolutely right. It's the same. We all got the same problems. We're just all in different places.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So do you have something that's coming up next for you, or do you just continue training until you get that next contract and then you focus on that? Is that how that's working? Or do you already have something in the works right now?
I'm already contracted with Bare Knuckle. So I like I'm their fighter. But unfortunately I have to be patient and I'm not able to take any fights right now. I'm going to probably be accepting fights. Honestly, I thought it was gonna be July, and I was wrong about that fucking date. Um, it's probably gonna be around September, maybe even like later. And that's like September would probably be the earliest. And but like I said before, it's it's uh it's just my like I'm trying to remember to be patient because it's worth it. And I'm taking advantage of the opportunities and blessings that God is giving me. I'm progressing and changing and getting better in so many freaking ways. And the longer that I am waiting, I guess you can say, to jump back in, the better I'm just gonna be, and the better of success that I have in my next fight. Now, I'm dying to fight, like wholeheartedly. Like I wanted to fight like fucking right after this last fight because like I was fine, I got knocked out. I didn't like she took me out quick, you know? Like I could have hopped back in like 2 months later. Um, but I couldn't. I did I did end up with a concussion. So
Yeah.
but that among other things I have to again, but I don't want to say too much without saying it, obviously. Like beating around the bush. I'm using the time for what it is, which is a blessing. So I'm working on things, working on bad habits, I'm working on my mental health, but I'm getting so much better physically, mentally. Um, I have way more opportunities with fighting somehow, even though I got my ass whooped. It's weird. Like it's so, but again, that's God because it doesn't make any sense how things have blown up in a good way and I did so bad. Like it doesn't make any sense, but that's God for you. It's a but God thing. And but again, I'm taking my time because once I come back, like that's it. You just keep going forward, like it's like a first impression. It's like, all right, cool. So she got knocked out. She got this. Like, let's see where she is now. Like once you come back,
Yeah.
you can't make that impression again. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm being very careful. I'm praying so much, but I'm also having faith. Like we said before, I'm having so much faith. I understand that, and I pray for God to make it very clear for when He wants me to fight. And I'm hoping where like He makes things very. When you pray for it, and He asks when you ask to make it clear, He'll make it clear. I don't know how else to explain it other than that. It's like you'll know when God says yes. But He hasn't said yes yet, and until He says so, I'm gonna keep training. I'm gonna keep getting better. And I got a new coach. He is to me, he's young. People like get on him for being young, but this motherfucker is a mastermind. Like I posted this one thing the other day where I said he's the Mark Henry to my Frankie Edgar. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
like like I'm very blessed and we're fixing a lot of things and I'm very confident. Like I'm dying to get back. I want to show everybody. Like I just like I want to get back in there so bad. But I'm gonna be a good girl. I'm gonna wait. Um, continue having faith. I'm not gonna be the dumbass and jump back into fights like I have been for this career so far. And I'm gonna take advantage of the blessings that I have. So
That's what's up.
September maybe later. So we'll see. We'll see what God says.
Yeah. You
Have
want
you
to
ever
show?
had opponent, this is the last thing I gotta ask. Have you ever had an opponent where, like, going into the fight, you guys had like a rivalry or some contention of any kind, or has it always been? Because you seem like you have a lot of respect for everybody in
Mm.
this sport, but have you ever had somebody that you were like, man, she really pisses me off. I can't wait to get in there against her
Not yet.
specifically.
Not
No?
yet. I don't, you cannot like somebody, but so far everyone that I fought, I didn't not like. I know Courtney, we were cool as fuck before. She was very nice, respectful before we even jumped in the ring. Before the fight, she was like, "Oh, after the fight, let's go to dinner." You know, she was really cool. She was not like she was really cool. Um Crow, Crow, Crow was nice. Like she wasn't disrespectful, but then it was this weird moment. And I'm pretty sure she was just trying to like hype herself up. But like she was going crazy, like right before we stepped into the ring. Um, she was like saying, calling me a bitch, and like she was trying to get into the tent that me and my coach were in, like right before walking into it was weird. It was really fucking weird. And I mean so serious because before any of that, like we had fighter meetings, like it was weird, and there was no hostility, there was none of that stuff. So when that happened, I genuinely thought that all that screaming and yelling was the girl, one of the girls like that was fighting before us. So there was Pittman and Tony, right? And I thought it was Tony that was like going crazy because of the way that the fight went. I didn't know what the fuck was happening. Like I didn't, you know what I mean? Like I just thought it was somebody else bugging the fuck out. And then when it was her and she tried to come into the tent, and then Jules is sitting there with another security guard trying not to let her come into the tent. And I'm like confused. And then my coach starts getting upset because he's like, what the fuck is this? Like, why is she doing this? We're trying to warm up. We're trying to stay warm. And she's sitting here doing it. Like, I'm like, listen, don't worry about it. I was like, I'm praying for her right now. I paid no mind to it. I prayed for her. I prayed for her family. And I was praying to God that my kids did not see that shit because I didn't want them getting scared. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
by the grace of God, they weren't able to get the fight working. Like they weren't able to like that's awesome. They weren't able to my mom was having technical difficulties with like the laptop and the TV. So they weren't even able to stream it. So later on when they were able to see my fight, they went straight to my fight past all the bullshit and then just saw the way the fight went. So it was like cool. Like that was awesome, you know? So but even with that, after the fight, she got upset. She was saying people were making fun of her, and it's bullshit. People shouldn't be doing that. But everybody saw what happened. I hugged her, and I got her number afterwards, and I thought we were cool after that, and there was no problems. And then Jod, me and her were cool too. Even after she came up to me, in my locker room, she was like, "Hey, thank you so much." I told her she can use me as a punching bag whenever she wants. You know what I mean? So, um, no beef. You know what I mean? Like, there's no problem. So, um, yeah, no, like there's no issue. So if I got an issue with a female, that says a lot, yo. Straight up. Like that says a lot. So I'm gonna just, try my best to love my enemies the way that I'm supposed to. But it's fucking hard, yo. It's really hard, especially when somebody's like lying, and then like like just sitting there trying to say stupid shit, or like it's frustrating. But that's I gotta be my father's daughter and not be of this world. So I'm trying really fucking hard, but it's not always easy. It's not always easy.
Yeah, because I think there's I actually saw somebody do a random interview recently, and they said that they were told and trained to, when they're fighting, to sell the fight, to basically cause drama,
Oh yeah.
like to make shit, like even if it's not real drama or real beef, just to make that shit happen, just to sell the fight better, even though it's bullshit. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Like
No, I know what you're saying. That's that shit, I gotta be careful what I say right now. um they trick you into thinking you have to do that shit to make yourself more attractive to make more money, right? Like how women, oh, just wear this and show a little bit of ass and tetas, you know what I mean? And or do this and do that to get more attention, to have more views, to have do this. And Like it's shit that this world makes you think that you need to do in order for you to be successful in anything, and it's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. Like those are the tricks that I want to help this youth. I don't want like what kind of fucking like what person wants their child going and doing this shit thinking that they just for more money. Like listen to how that shit sounds. Like I don't give a fuck if you're a grown ass woman. You know what I mean? Like you're still it's bro, I'm gonna try my hardest. Like I said, after God willing, I'm gonna open up my own gym. I'm gonna do what I gotta do, and I'm gonna make sure that every little girl that's in my roof, every young man who's in my roof, they're gonna learn the right way. By God's grace, they're gonna learn. They're gonna learn, and they're not learning my laws. They're gonna learn God's laws. So that's what I'm getting ready for.
That's what's up.
That's what's up.
You wanna shout out coaches, gym that you're working out of right now? Like give them a shout out.
Sure, yeah. My coach, Team Explosivo, is Carlos Solano. That's my boy. I actually I actually used to train with him a couple years back, and then we fell out, and now we here 5 6 years later and doing good things, thank God. So that I'm grateful, and I should big shout out to him. I want to give a big shout out to Jesus for allowing me to just be able to breathe this air and have this opportunity and give glory to him. And I hope there's no confusion as to how I'm here and how any of this is possible, because it's because of him. And I want to give a big shout out to you guys for allowing me to just be here and be me. And I appreciate that. I appreciate you not disrespecting me, and I just appreciate the authenticity, how do you say authenticity? I can't say it.
Authenticity.
Thank you. Yes, I appreciate that very much. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate that.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Yeah,
And
it's an
we
honor to have
appreciate
you.
you. We appreciate you coming on the podcast. You know, telling your story, talking what's next. Lots of different concepts, details. We definitely appreciate it. And I definitely look forward to your next opportunity and seeing that happen, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if yeah, and if we're, if we ever pass through that way and we're slap you a high five, whatever, go,
Yeah.
what
We'll,
I
we'll,
mean,
we'll, we'll have to make it happen one day. Don't worry.
yeah, we're doing a me and Pestilence are actually, I'm technically right now booking we're doing a fall tour.
Okay.
It's gonna be East Coast. Like I said, I don't know if we're getting this Jersey date, but if we don't play Jersey, I think we're gonna play this New York City spot. But we're doing 21 dates, so 21 shows, 21 days, starting from here, looping all the way around, going all the way up, New England area, wrapping around, doing stuff like that. But
That's cool, bro. That's dope. You should make me a Christian song so I can have you guys rap it while I'm walking out one day.
that would be fucking dope.
We could do it.
We could do it. We could do it. I actually just made. I mean, I could do concepts, and I can make something like that definitely happen. I actually just did a suicide awareness song.
Ooh, very nice.
That I actually have to do a video for. An organization up in the Upper Peninsula asked me to do that for their organization, so I was totally down to do it. I got two daughters. Um, their emotions go crazy, and sometimes I don't know where their mind is at. So I definitely hope they're never down and out in that aspect to where they even think of going that path. So it's definitely you know helping them grow. It's definitely nice to be able to give them you know good thoughts, good routes, good ideas to hopefully make them grow better as young women, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But yes, this has been super dope having you on. Like I said, we'll be in touch. This will drop on the YouTube, on the Spotify. I'll get some clips together because this was super dope.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It was a good time. Thank you. Send me the
Yeah.
clips. Post them on my end.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely we'll
Yeah.
do that.
Or you can
again,
add me as a lab collaborator. I think it is. That way it'll
well,
just pop
Yeah.
up
well,
on my.
so I don't know what settings you got. I tried to do that with
Mm-hmm.
the promo video,
Okay.
and for whatever reason, it said you were unable to be tagged.
Okay. I'll look into it. Am I following
But
you
either
That's
yeah,
probably. I'm
I'm pretty
following you, right?
I'm pretty sure. Yes.
Okay.
I
I'm gonna
think
check it
so.
out. What that is.
Cause that happened when I tried to tag you in the promo video. But either or, if you can't figure it out before I post the clips or whatever, I can just send them to you and you can repost them. Either way, it's not a big deal. But
Okay.
overall, like I said, this has been great. This is the CyphaDen chat in association with the Denku podcast. It is presented by CyphaDen Music, where we inspire even those higher. And remember to never stop chasing your dreams, because you will never know what you are fully capable of. And that's where we're going to leave that. Like I said, I'm your host, Tayamu Denku. That's the homie Pestilence. And we had special guest, Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, Bare Knuckle Fighter, Gabrielle Roman.
Yes.
I said it right. Yes.
Yes.
I was really hoping you were going to get it wrong.
I said it right, Pesto. I didn't fuck it up on
You
the
did.
outro.
You did. You nailed it. You nailed it.
So we will be in touch, and thank you again, Gabby, for being on the podcast. And we will yeah.
We gotta do one before my next fight for sure.
Oh,
Yes.
totally
That'd be
down.
awesome.
Totally down.
That'd be fantastic.
But you guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. You have a good night.
You too. Thank you. God bless. Bye bye.
Yep. Peace.
Bless you.